validation, now I validate myself. Building inner strength, putting doubt up on the shelf. No more unnecessary drama, no more wasted time. Climbing higher constantly, making my own climb. Standing on higher ground, where excellence is found. My potential knows no bounds. Raising the bar, breaking ground. My network is my net worth. Choose your company wise. Surround yourself with eagles, not with sheep in disguise. Every interaction is a reflection of my brand. Quality over quantity, that's my personal command. Standing on higher ground, where excellence is found. My potential knows no bounds. Raising the bar, breaking ground. Whoa. I'm not just living, I'm manifesting my vision. Cutting through limitations with surgical precision. My expectations are my compass, my respect is my shield. To mediocrity and chaos, I will never yield. I'm manifesting my vision, cutting through limitations with surgical precision. My expectations are my compass, my respect is my shield. To mediocrity and chaos, I will never yield. Standing on higher ground, where excellence is found. My potential knows no bounds. Raising the bar, breaking ground. I'm not just living, I'm manifesting my vision. Cutting through limitations with surgical precision. My expectations are my compass, my respect is my shield. To mediocrity and chaos, I will never yield.
How you doing, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to This and That. I'm your host Xander, where we're talking about this, that, and everything in between. Whew, we had a week again. This week. Hold on, let me. Hold on, y'all. I'm sitting up here wondering why does it look like that? That's because it's the integrated camera. Where did my? Oh, that's because the printer's still hooked up. Look, I'm sitting over here wondering what happened because we're supposed to be doing 1080p. It's supposed to be doing high def. We're supposed to have all this stuff going on. And I'm looking at the camera like, that is not the way it normally looks. All right. And that's why. There it is. That's a little bit better. Uh, so, like I was saying, I appreciate you guys coming to the show. Um, we're live 7 nights a week, and we do not let the sun rise without going live, but we don't always start on time. So we ask you guys to like and subscribe, and then hit the notification buttons and mash those reaction buttons while you're here. Also, start taking a look into that membership and see what else you can get back out of doing what we do when we do what we do. So I've got a lot of stuff going on, man. I got a lot of stuff going on. I'm looking at covering what's going on with this third term. I'm looking at all the information that was about that. Stephen was actually right yesterday. There was a president that did do 4 terms. He just died in the fourth, so he completed 3 terms, but he died in his fourth term. He was elected 4 times. So we're going to be talking about the ins and outs of that. how that's going to positively or negatively impact your wallet, because the way politics negatively impacts your ability to make, save, and invest money is one of the things that we cover on Monday. Part of our business and politics discussions on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays. What we typically do on Tuesdays is give you information about how to make, save, invest, budget money, rethink how you look at money, how you approach money, how you use money. And this coming Tuesday, we're doing the second part of our two-part series on identity theft and cybersecurity in order to protect your money. Then Wednesday, we give you guys information about different countries around the world that you can invest in. And as you can see, there are quite a few. Wednesday's already posted, so you already kind of have an idea of what we're going to be doing for the rest of the month. We have a couple of Mondays and Tuesdays that we got to fill in, but for the most of the month is already done. Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, we give you guys personal improvement, self development information, relationship topics, negotiation, socialization, building your brand, promotions, raises, discussing retirement, forced retirements, severance packages, getting fired off the job. Then we start talking to you guys about the other areas of building your 20-year plan, your 30-year plan, because knowing where you need to be at or where you want to be at versus where you are and what you have to do to reverse engineer that in order to get to where you want to be, that is one of the most effective ways to plan, budget, and strategize. You will find that you cannot prepare for everything, but the most predictable things that are reoccurring things that you can plan for, and then preventative maintenance, you will find that you will have more time, more money, and more freedom to navigate unexpected circumstances. Having a savings account where you have extra money lying around to cover 2 or 3 months worth of bills helps you if you have extra expenses that needs to be paid for. But having your bills already prepaid in advance guarantees that the bill is paid, even if you have multiple things that bleed your savings accounts dry. You still have all your bills paid for several months. Um, when you think about like living off of your brokerage account, living off your brokerage account when your shares are paid monthly, even if you follow some of our dividend rotation strategies where different shares pay on different weeks every month where you end up getting paid weekly, the fact is that the money that gets dispersed into your brokerage account still has to be deposited into your bank account, and that could take several days to several weeks depending on how much money is being transferred at one time. If you're living off of a brokerage account, it's good to have this month and next month paid so that when you start getting money this month, you can start using it for 2 months from now. That gives you enough time to decide what you're going to put on for credit cards, what you're going to put on emergencies, what you're going to put on regular spending for your standard basic lifestyle. So you want to make sure that you're navigating around all of these things and doing that preventative maintenance. Um, as I experienced today, always having a backup car is always good because if one of the cars break down when you wasn't expecting it to break down, especially if you have the, I don't always have the tow, I mean the free rental car because it's not technically free. You're paying for it every month until you need a rental car. I don't always pay for the rental car because I got extra cars. But I always get that tow because I never know when I'm going to need to tow my car. So, and I do believe that within the first like 20 to 25 miles or so, depending on your policy, maybe more, that they actually tow the car all the way to one destination um, at a time. So, being able to get a free tow, free ride back to the house, and then swap plates, jump in another car, and start driving. That's one of the perks of having backup vehicles. Um, the wealthy doesn't have to worry about that because they have all of their cars are maintenance, and if a car looks like it might have something going on with it, almost on time today, man. I had so much stuff happen today. It was crazy. I had to cancel a few clients. I had to, like I was talking about just a moment ago, I had to tow a car. I've been up since yesterday. The stuff that I was supposed to do didn't get done. So I had to improvise, and then now I got to reorganize how I'm going to be covered a few things along the way, but everything is still already covered for the next 2 months. It's just that there's other things now that I have to budget in that I wasn't planning on budgeting in. So since I already got most of the stuff done, now I just have to make sure that the stuff that's coming in is cleared with the stuff that's going out. It's just it's a lot of disorganization. And then what I did, I always do this. I was doing some organization, right? And I was like, oh man, let me set this TV up. So I'm trying to find something big enough to put the TV on, and there's nothing big enough because the TV's twice the size of everything in here. So then I had to put two things together. They're not level. Then I had to try to balance it to make it level, and all of that. And then I look like shit. I'm late for the podcast. All of my alarm clocks are going off for this thing, and I'm like, nah, I'm gonna get the TV set up. So when I got it done, bro, I got dressed. I came to the show, and before I go to the show, I'm like, where's the dog? That song gun is in the living room sitting in the recliner watching Martin on Netflix. I was like, bro, I had to take some photos of it. and I'll let my homeboy know, like, bro, like this bastard's in the living room just laying on the couch watching Martin on TV. In the living room by himself in the dark, just watching TV. I was like, all right, that's what's up. That's what's up. So almost on time. But you didn't miss anything because I just got through the morning announcements, and I was giving you guys some information about some of the stuff that we've got going on. So I did not even start the topic of the day, but I got the topic of the day pulled up because I know you're gonna love today's topic. He said I ended up working a double yesterday and I'm working both jobs today. I'll be paid for 24 hours yesterday with double time on 8 hours and 8 hours flat rate at work now and working both jobs today. That's exciting as far as pay, but you're getting paid by the hour. So I feel sorry for you for the time that you have to expel to get this kind of stuff done. And then we're looking at shit, what sleep have you gotten in the last 2 days? Because I used to work those 72-hour shifts, you know, 3 days on, 4 days off, 3 days on legitimately, like clock in on Monday, clock out on Thursday morning. Some bitches be dragging in the job. Oh, I'm tired. Bitch, you had 2 days off. I've been here since you clocked out. How you gonna come and tell me you tired? But when we living from paycheck to paycheck, dollar to dollar, hour to hour, when we can put that physical effort into being present, because you're getting paid for your presence. That's basically what it is. And however much shit you can get done during that time frame, you're getting paid for your presence. But it's fantastic when your presence costs twice as much now. You know, it feels like a mini promotion because if you're getting paid $20 an hour, now you're getting $40 an hour. And that doesn't happen very often on your job. So you're like, fuck yeah, I'm gonna milk this for all it's worth. Especially since they're not taxing overtime hours. That's gonna be a large ass paycheck, right? So, I'm proud of you, but I know you gotta be tired because you also got school. So you got two jobs. You didn't did a double yesterday. You working on two jobs today, which feel like doing a double today, and then you got to go to school. You got to be tired as hell. I know you got to be tired as hell because I'm tired as hell. I didn't get burned out though because I did manage to take me a short nap, but shit happened and I just wasn't where I was supposed to be at when it was time to go live. It was on me. But today we're supposed to be talking about, oh yeah, and then we have on Sundays. I forgot to tell y'all that was the last thing I was going to tell y'all because I was talking about Thursday through Friday. But um, Sunday we have questions and comments from the fans. That's the last thing I forgot because I started on Monday today. So if you guys ever have appropriately structured questions for appropriate topics that are unrelated to today's topic, I ask you guys to reserve those wild ass questions for Sunday. Now, my members got priority. So if you're paying for the membership and you ask me a wild ass left field question, I'll do some research if I ain't got the answer for you and I'll throw it into the membership. But if you're not a member and you ask me a wild ass left field question, depending on what the question is, I might not even answer the question, just ask you to write it down and bring it back to me on Sunday. Because I'll be talking about money and somebody will come up and be like, "Oh, a relationship question." Nah, sir, that's not how we do it a lot of the times. But if you come with an appropriate topic and I feel like it's valid, because we are supposed to be segueing into some of those relationship topics, and you ask one of those questions, I might just entertain that question. So today we're supposed to be talking about the behavior of the real rich versus the fake rich, and I want you guys to pay close attention to that because actually I don't know if you've seen it, Stephen, but I know I've been seeing it on social media because it's prom, right? And with prom going on, we've got all the poor folks showing off for prom, renting Bentleys, Rolls Royces, sitting on a private jet. You know, private jet is like $4,000. So to go to prom on a private jet, uh, for what though? Because you're spending more money on prom than what your parents spent on your entire education from first grade to 12th grade. You got the kids out here, and these are just the poor kids, not the rich kids. Because the rich kids went to school on a public school bus, the yellow bus, got off the bus because you're going to the gym. But these kids got Louis Vuitton and Armani suits and custom made this and embroidered that, and they got the females with money sold into $100 bills, real $100 bills sold into the clothes. Then you got the boys that they got wads of cash. Some most of them got $1 bills, but they got wads of cash, which ultimately means that these dumbasses are gonna be throwing the money in the air, and you already know all the broke girls are gonna be picking it up off the ground. And you know, so I guess they want to make it a an evening to remember. But I think that the 5, 10, 15, $20,000 that you spent on giving your child a prom to remember would not have been as impactful as closing on a house for your child for graduation. I think that would have been better because they would have had a guaranteed fucking house now, right? That's not what they did. They threw the money away. We even had two or three parents talking about something. This is 6 months of food stamp money. I'm sitting over here looking like, what? What? And I did some research. Food stamp money is $300 a month. So 6 months of that, 300 times six, that's $18,000 worth of. So if you got that kind of money to throw on prom, what the fuck is you on food stamps for? Prom is that prom that is a memory for life. I can dig it, to be honest. You only live once. I gotta completely disagree with you on that, Stephen. Yes, prom is a memory for life. I remember my first four proms. Yeah, I had four proms. Why? Because I was that damn good. I had a car when I was 15 that I bought with my own money. So I always had a ticket to prom because I was always driving somebody to prom. I never invited a chick to prom. I just went to prom and danced with everybody else's girlfriend. And then I would leave prom with 3 to 5 girls in my car. And everybody's parents trusted me. So I could take the girls out late and we could come back at 4 in the morning because I was the only one that was successful with a job in his own car, paying rent and all this other stuff at 15, 16 years old. So I had freshman year, I had prom, and every year after that, I had prom. So when I tell you that the most I spent at prom each year was gas in my car, the car insurance, and when cell phones started coming out, my cell phone bill, you're looking at less than $200 over the course of 4 years. Now, I cannot connect with the financial irresponsibility that the parents put into the memorable bar. I do agree with you that prom is supposed to be a memory for a lifetime. But imagine this, Stephen, if your prom is a 20, 30, 50,000, and you know the only reason why they're doing it with these kids is because this year was the year that all the broke folks is getting all that overtime money back. So you already know that they're spending that 20, $30,000 on these kids because they got that 25, 30, $50,000 back from the government from the overpaying of uh 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 taxes on the overtime hours for 2025. So you know they're not going to have that kind of money next year. But the dynamic is, can you imagine if this child is 17, 18, 19 years old, graduating from high school, they're doing their senior prom, 25, 30, $50,000 prom, private jets, Rolls Royces, Bentleys, $20,000 suits, wad full of money, all clothes made of money, all this, and this is what you remember from your best years of high school. Let me ask you a question, Stephen, and I want you to give me your honest opinion. How does your wedding top that when you're now making less money on the fast food restaurant that you're working at than what you spent on your fucking prom? Ultimately, if that is the peak of your life, 17, 18, 19 years old, mom spent 25 or $30,000 in April for prom off of her tax return money. If that is the peak of your life, it is downhill from there, bro. You said it doesn't. Your wedding can't beat because there's nothing that you can do after that unless you made yourself financially successful. Because if your prom, and I'm talking about, I wish I had took some clips of it. But I'm talking about like that they got these kids had intros to their prom that was better than the WWE superstars, bro. And their mom and dad and them is paying for this shit, right? One woman sold all the furniture in her house to get that. Special shout out to Jesse. What's up, my guy? So when you think about that, and that's related to today's topic because we're going to be talking about the difference between rich behavior and fake rich behavior because rich behavior only spends what they need when they need it and then invest everything else, and they typically try to put their spending towards something that benefits them either with durability or with a return on investment, right? Fake rich is spending a bunch of money to look like you got it. And so you're pretending like you're something that you're not, which go is it's in line with some of the other stuff we were talking about with code switching and everything like that. And then your ass is broke for the rest of the year. You know what I mean? That prom doesn't do nothing but make me depressed after that because nothing will amount to that. And then this is the worst part because it's all the broke kids that's parents is all doing the same thing. And I did not see one non-minority family do this. Just the minority families did it. So you got all the little black kids in there with all their government refund money on limos and Rolls Royces, Bentleys, private jets, expensive outfits that they're only going to wear one time in their life because they're not going to be able to fit it by the time they qualify for a marriage. And this is the best part of anything, probably forever. Man, I said, shit. Everything happens for a reason because that's what we got today's topic about. So when you think about that, and then you think about what does wealth really look like to you, you're not going to get that concept of like the red carpet or Hollywood Square, right? But he said, for my prom, I didn't even attend in those days. All I cared about was sitting on the front porch and partying. But that's my point. That's my point. So prom night, you might have had a house party. Cool. But when you think about even if you hosted the house party, you probably had about $500 worth of alcohol, maybe some illicit drugs. You weren't the only person that chipped in, and there was more people there than you can remember counting. And you had a fantastic time. On your own, you likely probably spent between $100 and $500 that night. These people are spending tens of thousands. That shit was ridiculous. But I understand that most people probably picture the luxury cars, sprawling mansions, and high rollers in designer suits flashing $50,000 watches, which is why these kids were in expensive high roller designer suits in luxury cars, getting out of luxury planes with large quantities of money that they will never see again, right? But what if I told you guys that the person driving that 10-year-old Honda, guys like Steven driving that 20-year-old Toyota, actually wealthier than the guy with the one brand new BMW? Trying to tell you. What if the most financially powerful people are the ones that you'd never even notice? See, the problem is that we've been conditioned to chase the appearance of wealth. It's a performance that leaves so many people broke, anxious, and trapped. Because when you think about all the money that these parents paid on these kids' prom, they could have caught up on past debt, paid off their cars, advance paid their rent for 12 to 24 months, giving them home security for those people who don't live in a house that they own. They could have used that money as a down payment to buy a house so that they no longer have to deal with the 4% inflation every year. There's so many things that they could have done with that money, and they wasted all of that money to give their child one night that they'll never forget. I respect the mentality, but I do not respect the action because pack your bags, we got to move because we couldn't afford to rent. After that prom night is going to make that prom night not be anything to that child when they no longer can live in the house that they grew up in because they can't afford it. You know what I mean? So that that just really blew my mind. But we find ourselves scrolling through highlight reels on social media, and I found a highlight reel, like there was a collage. It's almost like that particular topic went viral, of exotic trips, extravagant dinners, endless shopping hauls, and every kid that had a prom to show off on social media all popped up back to back. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? My fault because I was scrolling through my For You page and I lingered on a one of them, and then the algorithm triggered and just started showing me more shit like it. And I'm sitting over here looking like this is disrespectful. But we've mistaken the costumes for the character. We believe that we've been sold a lie. Or well, actually, we believe that this is the truth, but we've actually been sold a lie because that looking rich is not the same as being rich. And when we believe that looking rich is the same as being rich, when it's not, it's a dangerous illusion that we portray ourselves in. And all of these young bucks, especially the ones that aren't carrying Glock switches for prom, that's out here with $10,000 in small bills in their hand going to prom, setting themselves up to get robbed because everybody's going to go to the prom. They're going to try to smoke something. They're going to try to drink something, whether they smuggle it into the prom or one of their friends smuggle it into the prom. So you're not going to be 100% coherent, and you've got large quantities of cash that has no purpose in your pockets. Where these kids' clothes are so tight they can't even. You could see the boys' earbuds in his pocket. His clothes were so tight. So the wad of cash was this big. He was holding it like a basketball player holds a basketball. And the wads of cash was this. Where is he going to put all this money? Right? He can't put it in his pockets. They're too damn tight. That's enough to get knocked off. I don't understand it. Look, real wealth is quiet, doesn't need an audience. Fake wealth is loud because it's fueled by insecurity and the desperate need for validation. So all these kids out here pretending like they got something because their mom and daddy and them got a lot of money back from the government this year. That their mom and daddy didn't work for every year, but because the tax laws changed, now they're getting that money back. Now they want to go out there and show it out like we got something. But everybody had the same idea. So you don't just have one kid showing out. All the kids are showing. So do you realize that if everybody's got their own intro, it's no longer a spectacular thing for you. You're one of many people who wasted all your family's money on prom. That's the wild part. So today we're going to be breaking down the definitive difference between the fake rich who can't stop making noise and the truly rich who build their fortunes in silence. We're going to expose psychological traps that keep people performing poverty while dressed in luxury. And we are going to reveal the hidden habits and mindsets that create lasting, unshakable financial freedom. So by the end of tonight's show, you'll understand that the goal isn't to look rich, it is to become so financially secured that you never have to worry about impressing anyone ever again. He said, I would rock work clothes like I do and drive my 2014 RAV4 with peel and paint for a few years until I hit six figures in investments, then start to work for me. Yeah, that I'd be wearing my work clothes. I used to go to the club in my work clothes because I used to work at a Waffle House growing up. And all the people who work at the club, all the people who party at the club used to come to my Waffle House, and I used to cook for them when they got out the clubs. So on my days off, when I used to go to the club, I would get VIP'd into the club because I was the guy that fixed everybody's food. Then I would get up at the bar, two drinks on the house, and then I buy the rest. But while I'm at the bar, before I can start buying some, everybody else see me there in uniform, like, oh, you're off today? Yeah, but I'm on call. Man, let me get you a drink. We're gonna get you fucked up before you go to work. And that's just how it went. I could go to the bar with money in my pocket and after paying for parking, paying for cover, paying for drinks, I walk out of the bar with more money than what I went in with a full tank of gas because I used to go everywhere in my uniform. Because why not? What am I going to get? And so from 16 to 22, I just went places with my uniform. If I wasn't wearing it on my back, it was in my car like a med kit. And whenever I wanted to eat for free, we would just show up at a Waffle House. And before my crew can get to the check, I got to work. So I'll cover short staff. The meal is on the house. My guys will take my car. They'll go do what they got to do and bring it back. Come get me in the morning. He said, being wealthy is hard. To be humble, silence is golden. Well, we got to break that up a little bit, Steve, Michael. It is hard to be humble when you've only been wealthy. But when you've never been wealthy and you become wealthy, it is easy to be humble because you remember where you came from and your silence is golden on both fronts. Do you know who my daddy is? Is from the entitled. The entitled are the privileged who have never had to do without. Don't worry about it, I'll take care of you. Is from the survivors, those who used to be the less fortunate but now have extra, those who have the capabilities to have two of and give one to another. I got three cars, your car broke, I'll just give you one of mine because I know what it's like to walk and I don't want to see you walk, right? Not because I want the glory of giving you a car, because I remember what it was like when I was on the grind. But the difference is when I was on the grind, somebody might have not have gave me an opportunity to stop walking. So I'm going to give somebody else that opportunity to stop walking. Because one of the things that we notice is that success rewards effort. Business people, men and women alike, that have already made it, that see the up and comers doing it the hard way, struggling to get there, are not always going to exploit them. Instead, they're going to motivate them. If you walk to work every day because you don't have a car, they'll give you one. If you got old tattered clothes and that's the best that you could do, but you do a damn good job, they'll get you a new suit. If you've got the skill set to succeed, but you just don't have that opportunity because of something in your background, they will put you in a position to succeed because you have the potential. What successful people do is they will invest in your potential, not your pity, because you could be something better. And what that does for them is down the line, if you remember who they are when you've made it, you might end up doing business with them. So them making you into something successful gives them another person to benefit from financially in the future when you guys do business together. Not because you're going to loan them or give them some money for free on the house or anything like that, but because now I got an extra person that can go in on this multi-million-dollar deal because I helped one more person come up. But the thing is that people who have never been wealthy, people who have never had, people who have always had to do without, always dealing with the hand me downs, can't never get nothing nice, just that and the third. As soon as you get a little extra, you gotta blow it and you gotta show it to everybody that you blew it, right? That's really the difference between the two. He said, let them struggle. If they want it bad enough, they will figure it out. Well, I mean, that method actually only works for people who are sitting there with their hand out. But the truth of the matter is that the people who are already struggling on their own, they're not asking you for any help. They're getting it done, and you see them struggling to get there. It's not just, oh, let them struggle. They'll figure it out. They did figure it out. If they're walking 3 hours, 10 miles to work every day and then doing a 10-hour shift, and walking 3 hours, 10 miles back every day, and they don't complain about work. They never late for work. They come to work early. They leave late. They're the first one in, the last one out. They're showing you the dedication that they don't need shit but their motivation to get there. And you reward that by saying, you know what? You ain't got to walk no more. That's what that's about. But when you think about the entitled person, the person that's crying like a little bitch, oh, I don't have, I need, can you help? Nah, fuck it, let them suffer because they'll figure it out. You're right. He said most people hate good advice, but they love vanity. Most people hate criticism because the criticism is the good advice. There's no nice way to tell somebody that they're fucking up. There isn't. There's no nice way to tell somebody that they're doing it wrong. There's no nice way to tell somebody that you can get better results if you do it differently. And even though I'm saying it like that, and you're like, shit, you just said it. If you look at a woman and tell a woman that she would be more successful with men if she took off all of the makeup, the hair, the nails, and just cooperated with the man, most women would curse me out. But since men already say that they want a natural woman that is a cooperating partner that they can build with, I just gave you three things that you can do to make your relationships more successful. And those are the three things you don't want to do. So it's not just the good advice, it's the criticism that comes with the good advice. A person who smokes weed on a regular basis, if I say, man, if you just quit smoking weed and put that money towards something else, you've insulted their identity because their identity is a weed smoker, right? You tell the same thing, an alcoholic. You tell them, man, if you just stop drinking, you spend a third of your income on drinking. If you just stop drinking, you know, you can put that money towards something else besides all these DUIs. They don't want to hear that. They don't want to hear because they know. So when a person on the outside tells them that, hey, I see you fucking up too, but you know you fucking up, they don't want to hear that. So question, how did we get it wrong about wealth? This is a really good question for you guys. I mean, we've lived in a tension economy where being seen is often confused with being valuable. Social media has become a global stage for performative wealth, a constant flood of perfectly curated images designed to make you feel envious and signal status. As the saying goes, people spend money they don't have on things they don't need to impress people they don't even like. The economist um, Thorstein Veblen called this conspicuous consumption over a century ago. And it's only gotten more intense. Today, this isn't just a habit of the super elite. It's a trap that has snared almost everyone. You see colleagues, new luxury car, or a friend's vacation photos, and a little anxious alarm goes off in your head. The fear of being left behind. And this keeps people stuck on a treadmill of consumption, always chasing the next status symbol in a game they can never win. Exactly right, Michael, keeping up with the Joneses. And it's crazy that we have not learned. We watched it not work with our parents. Our parents watched it not work with our grandparents. We haven't learned from them. A lot of them are still living in low income neighborhoods, paycheck to paycheck. And we have not learned to do something different, anything different than what they did. It's crazy. Now, the most fundamental error here, the one that is the entire charade is going to be built on, is confusing income with wealth, which is why I started the show talking about the kids with the prom. Because in order for their parents is living paycheck to paycheck, low income families, talking about some 6 months of food stamp money went towards this prom get up, and they got Bentleys, Rolls Royces, prom dresses that cost $10,000 and all this stuff. You got the girls got actually her dress was made of $100 bills. No lie, it was made of $100 bills. Like I'm sitting over here imagining if I was at that prom, I would be standing behind her just tearing her dress up. I would be pocketing all the bills, bro. Pocketing all the bills, taking the staples out, going to the Walmart cash, turning them into 20s, like crazy, right? Um, but in order for those parents to do what they did for those kids' prom, you had to take your income refund, which is a reimbursement of your income, and put it towards their proms, right? Our society is obsessed with income. How much do you make is the silent question hanging in the air everywhere you go. Women ask this question as one of the first three questions that they ask. They don't always ask you who you are. They typically start with, what do you want? What am I going to get out of this? And how much do you make? Is usually how it goes down. Because when you flag them down, well, what do you want? Right? Or I'm not interested. Right? Oh, I was just trying to, take you out, blah, blah, blah. Take me where? What do I get out of the deal? Right? Oh, this place, 5 star, whatever you want, steak, lobster, blah, 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 blah. Oh, okay, okay. What do you do for work? See how much money he has. This is usually where people start. But a high income doesn't automatically make you wealthy. In fact, tons of high income earners are living paycheck to paycheck, just one job loss away from total financial collapse, three consecutive non payments, and you're homeless. Look at what happened with the people being furloughed. If not for government subsidies, the 2 months of not, that's four consecutive checks they didn't get, that they had to substitute with loans and everything to that effect. Otherwise, they would have been evicted on the third month. So you guys got to just think of all the professional athletes who earn millions and then go broke within a few years after retirement. People who hit the lottery and they're broke 2 years after they've won the lottery. High quantities of income doesn't necessarily mean high wealth. Michael says, I've learned not to care. Sent my niece to CDL school. She drops out 2 days before graduation. That was a $5,000. She'd be giving me that $5,000 back. Man, my niece would be mad at me because I'm telling her, look, girl, if you're not driving the truck, you're getting money out of that truck some kind of way. You're gonna be over there by them truck stops. You're gonna get my $5,000. And me, and me. You better come back with my money with interest. He said, giving friends vehicles just so that they can drive to church, just to see them walking again. Experience is a greater teacher. Well, I wouldn't give them a car just so that they could go to church. I mean, if you was walking to work every day, I'd give you a car so that you can get to work. But not these days. Back in the day, I would give you a car just so that you can get to and from work. I'd give a shit if you going to church. You're wasting money if you're going to church because people who go to church typically give their money away at the church in spades, and then they don't benefit from the church. They have a good feeling on the way. Not all the time. A lot of the times you feel drained and exhausted when you get out of church, but you put on that show for a price. You paid to put on a show. I'm a God fearing person. I gave money to the church, and the pastor's got a Rolls Royce, and you walking. So, uh, yeah, I wouldn't give him a car to go to the church, but experience is a great teacher. He said, Judge Judy can fix that for you, and you can get some TV time. Yeah, you sure could. Judge Judy can help you get your $5,000 back. And then your what is it, 15, 20 minutes of fame before the commercial break, you could probably get you an endorsement deal. Now, if you guys can remember one thing about tonight's show, let it be this: income is what you earn, wealth is what you keep, what you own, and what works for you while you sleep. So I'm going to say that again. Wealth is what you keep, what you own, and what works for you while you're asleep. Income is just what you've earned. So the truly rich are going to get this concept. They aren't focused on maxing out their spending to match their income. They're focused on systematically converting their income into an ever growing pile of assets. The fake rich, on the other hand, just uses their income to finance their lifestyle. And multiple generations are taught this. If you want that, get a job. If you want the upgrade, get a job. If you want the latest edition, get a job. Always being taught by association, get a job to get what you want, get a job to subsidize your lifestyle. Instead, you teach your kids, and I covered a whole show about this. You teach your kids, that was right, Michael, assets. You teach them from 7, 8, 9, 10 years old how to invest in themselves instead of, I want those latest edition $300 Jordans. I want to put $4,000 into a brokerage account so that I can get that. Or actually, I might want to put $40,000 into a brokerage account so that I can get that $300 a month so that I can buy Jordans on a regular basis. That's a different mindset that people don't have. If you like we talked about before, Netflix is $25 a month. If your phone bill is $100 a month, the Netflix with your phone bill could be about $125 a month. And if that was a 10% return on your investment, you're looking at about $13,000. And if you're considering taxation, you're looking at about $15,000. That has to be in your brokerage account so that when you get the $1,500 and you pay the $2,000 on taxation, you're good to go, right? This is the stuff that the wealthy think about instead of, ooh, I want that G wagon. Well, if the G wagon is 150 grand, I want to get paid 150 grand at least a year, if not a month, off my brokerage account. In order for me to get 150 grand a year off of my brokerage account at 10%, I need $1.5 million. And if I'm trying to get that after taxes, I need $2 million, right? To get that G Wagon. So that the monthly payments coming in will cover the cost of the G Wagon, right? One idea is going to be building a fortress of freedom. The other idea is going to be building a fragile stage, and it's going to be set in a way that it can collapse at any moment. You take cash, but my point, in order for me to ask that question, I got to have cash to give. Because why am I going to walk into a Ferrari shop and I don't have the money to pay for the tires? I heard from somebody that it cost them $4,000 to replace Tesla tires. To replace Tesla tires. It's a $150,000 car, the one I'm referring to. If it costs $4,000 to replace the tires, and $4,000 will give me a really good Toyota Corolla or a Toyota Camry or a Lexus or a Honda Civic or a Honda Accord or a Nissan Maxima or a Volkswagen whatever, Jetta, Beetle, whatever, and I decide which one is most effective for me, I would lean on the whole fucking car for the $4,000. Not $4,000 for the damn tires. A tail light on a Porsche costs over $700. Shit. That Porsche will never have a tail light again. That tail light go out, officers be like, tail lights are out. I know, it ain't tax season. Tail light goes, hey, I'll park that bitch till I get a tail light. Because you should be buying like 2009 Porsche Boxsters anyway, the broke man's Porsche. Because who's spending $150,000 on a Porsche? Not a wealthy person on a regular basis. So let's get into the 10 key differences that separates the quiet, real rich from the loud, fake rich. Because I know a lot of you guys. Make sure that y'all like and subscribe and mash those reaction buttons as y'all coming through here. These are going to be the behaviors and the mindsets that reveal the truth behind all the noise. So difference number one is going to be the scorecard that they use, net worth versus income. The first and most telling difference is how they measure success. For the fake rich, the scorecard is going to be income. Their entire identity is wrapped up in their salary. They're going to casually drop their annual earnings into conversions. That's going to be a conversation. They're going to brag about their latest bonus or complain about taxes on their high income. This obsession with income is a sign of financial immaturity. It's like judging a runner by how fast they sprint for 10 seconds without knowing if they can even finish the fucking marathon. The fake rich use their income as a license to spend. A raise doesn't mean more money to invest. It means a bigger car payment, a fancier apartment or a house, and a higher limit on their credit card for designer clothes. They fall right into the trap of lifestyle creep, where their expenses rise in perfect sync with their earnings, ensuring they never actually build any real wealth. He said, nothing flashy, wearing clothes. You will be amazed. The kids that was wearing them prom outfits, they thought they was doing something with them outfits. And I'm sitting over here. But when I look at the kids that was wearing them clothes, I think to myself, okay, these are the kids that typically have street clothes on, their pants hanging off their behinds, boxers with boxers on top of them, and then sweatshirts and a hoodie, right? So when you take them out of all of that and put them in a suit, it could have been a cheap suit. They're gonna look way better. You put them in an expensive suit, they look better because they're in a suit. The women or the girls are actually wearing like booty shorts and halter tops. They gut out they look trashy. They whole life. Then you take them out of that and you put them into a dress. You could have put them into any dress and they would have looked fabulous. but you put them in an expensive dress. And now these kids think that the designer is what made them look better. No, it's because you stopped looking like trash and put on something different. And you could have done it with stuff that came out of Walmart, Goodwill, Salvation Army, and still look just as good, but you changed your image for one night only. Uh, I love these type of people. That's how we make our money. This is a capitalist country. We make money off of the ignorant. um, these people might look impressive, but their financial foundation is a house of cards. The truly rich are playing a completely different game. I see you. Blessings. How you doing, Uncommon Woman 100? Blessings to everyone in the chat room. The net worth of a wealthy person is going to be their scorecard, not income. And net worth is the total value of everything that you own. You passing through? Well, I appreciate you hitting that like button, subscribing. Well, you already subscribed. You hitting that like button and mashing those reaction buttons while you're here. Yes, ma'am, we're doing well. We had a rough day earlier today, but I'm getting over it now. Everything's going swell. We're gonna be off to some greener pastures by daylight. Hopefully, you're doing well as well. So, like I was saying, the net worth is going to be the total value of everything that you own, investments, real estate, cash, minus all of your debts. This is the only true measure of financial health. I'm glad to hear it. I'm glad to hear it. You definitely stay in good health. Make sure that you keep yourself stress free. Now, the quiet millionaire knows it's not about how much you make, but how much you keep and how hard that money works for you, right? Which is one of the reasons why I was telling Stephen, always invest in yourself first, build that portfolio over everything else. If you got to juggle some stuff in different places in order for you to build that wealth up, juggle some stuff until you can pay it down, but build that wealth up. Make operation number one putting money away that is turning over big profits. And then number two, paying down big debts. And then number three, restructuring your spending habits so that you have money left over after you've paid yourself and paid your debtors. Right? Truly wealthy people don't appear wealthy. If, for example, Warren Buffett is living in the same house. Well, wealthy people dress poor or not poor, they dress intentional. So they don't need name brand clothes to look wealthy so that they can feel wealthy. They know they're wealthy. Their accountant calls them and tells them how their money's changed this morning for breakfast, right? And they're having breakfast in a different country every week. They know what wealthy looks like, right? But they don't have to wear Jordans. They can put on a regular pair of shoes that has no brand that you can identify that are comfortable on their feet. They don't have to have something that's got a pattern that is the brand of the item. They can wear regular clothes like this where you can't tell who made what. It just is organized effectively where they look sophisticated or at least well put together for whatever they were trying to accomplish. And then wealthy is going to be one of the ones that's not going to do that cell phone thing with cash where they put a brick of cash up against their face. I don't understand why that became a trend for broke people, but every time I see that, I think it would be so funny right now if one of the people next to you would knock you the fuck out and run off with that wad. It's just they do it. They do the dumbest stuff. Because you're showing everybody what you got. Y'all got to realize that 90 something percent of violent crimes and home break-ins and all of this other stuff occurs with people who know one another. So when you advertise your wealth, you put a big target on your back to be knocked off by somebody who doesn't have that wealth, which puts you in a position where you're walking around with $7,000 in your pocket. Somebody's going to steal your $7,000. Police are not going to recover your $7,000. It's evidence in a case. And anything that's evidence in a case ends up property of the police department. So you never get your money back. If they catch the person and make the person pay restitution, if that person pays the restitution, you might get some of your money back. But more often than not, especially if the criminal doesn't survive arrest, your money is just gone. He said, wealthy is when the bank calls you for a loan. He right about that. Um, he said, except red bottoms. Red bottoms, girl, look, let me tell you something about these red bottoms. Okay. A shoe is a shoe is a shoe. A woman's natural height is more beautiful than a woman in heels. Women who wear heels are just standing on their toes, and they wear those heels because that tightens their calves. And by tightening their calves, they look more attractive. You can go to the gym, work on your fucking calves, and then wear goddamn sneakers and still be attractive. You can wear flats and still be attractive. You can have a 1 inch or 2 inch platform heel and still be attractive, still show those calves off, have you a skirt that stops at the knees and still show those calves off. And you would be 5'1" with a 2 inch heel that's got you looking 5'3". And you would be perfect for a man that's 5'6". But that's not what women do. What women do is they put on a skirt so tight that they can't walk so that they can show off what little bit of butt they got. Then they're gonna put on 6 inch shoes. It's gotta be a 6 inch. It can't be nothing less than a 6 inch. I don't know why these women are doing it. They always go for the 6 inch shoe. So when you're 5'6", you put on that 6 inch shoe, even if it's 6 inch regular shoes, not the 3 inch platform plus the 6 inch, which is 9 inches, where you go from 5'1" to 5'10". You actually started at 5'6" with the 6 inch, well, 5'2" with the 6 inch lift, and now you're 5'8", and now you're looking for that 6 foot because he ain't that much taller than you because you're already on stilts. And red bottoms, this is the problem I have with red bottoms. $1,500 for the same shoe that you can get from Payless for 15 or $20. And because it has a red velvet strip on the bottom of the shoe that can only be seen when you're walking away, that is why the shoe costs $1,500. And your feet is gonna be on fire because they're closed toe pointy shoes. They got your feet on top of one another like this and curled up and stuff. And when you come out of them shoes, you got bunions and canker sores and all this kind of stuff. I tell women all the time that to impress a man, you have to be responsible about taking good care of yourself. So if your feet hurt in them damn shoes, you are not taking good care of yourself. You don't look comfortable. You look like you're suffering. And because you look like you're suffering, as a man, I'm gonna ask you to take them damn shoes off so that your feet stop hurting. But now what's going on? You're unprepared because you're walking around with your expensive ass dress shoes in your hand, walking around barefoot like a homeless person because you ain't got no damn sense to get the shoe. If you're gonna wear closed toe, pointy toe shoes, at least get them custom made so that your toes are able to move. Not a now woman has ever thought to themselves that they make custom shoes the way they make custom dresses. And take your ass to a shoe store and get the shoe size since you're gonna be on your toes, get you a shoe that kind of spreads your toes out, son, and get you a wider shoe. Stop trying to force your foot into their shoe like Cinderella. Make a shoe for your honest to God, ladies. Y'all got big ass fucking feet. Y'all be swearing up and down, oh, it's a 6 in women's. Your 6 in women's is a fucking 9 in men's. It's just that they changed the number to make you feel better. The average woman who puts her foot next to the average man of the same height typically has the same foot length, but the size 10 in men's is like a size 6 in women's, but it's still the same fucking 9.8 inches of length on both people. It just makes her feel better because the number is smaller. But you know what? If she was 5'8", 5'8", 160 pounds, she would be wearing a men's 11 or 12. Yeah. So when you think about that, why are you squeezing your big ass feet in your little bitty ass shoes so that you can look cute? And then you're gonna say that you're looking cute for yourself. No, y'all looking cute to get laid by dudes, and then you're gonna shun the guys for trying to get laid by you. It makes no sense. It makes no sense. Why hurt yourself for the only ulterior motive of satisfying yourself? No man would do that. No man would hurt themselves to satisfy themselves. I will sacrifice myself for somebody else, a friend, a family member. Sometimes men sacrifice themselves for strangers, but women will self sacrifice to get attention from others and then lie about it and say that they're doing it for themselves. Yes, you're doing it for yourself to get the external validation from the society that you're in. That's why you're doing it. Beauty is painful. No, the fuck it's not. Naturally, beauty is free and painless because, like Beyonce, I woke up like this. I woke up like this. If you could roll out of bed and splash some water on your face and walk outside and look like a model, then you a 10. If you got to spend 2 hours in the bathroom putting on your face, you're a 6. If you bought your hair and you had to pay somebody to put it in, you're a 4 because you're still putting the face on. So now you're putting on the face, you're putting on the hair, you're putting on the makeup. All that's unnecessary. And that's also part of today's show because you're spending all of this money to look like something that you're not so that you can appease somebody else. Naturally attractive people don't have to do all that. Whether my hair looks all right or not, all over my head. If a woman's gonna talk to me, she's gonna talk to me the way it looks. Sometimes it's back, sometimes it's forward, sometimes it's to the left, sometimes it's to the right, but it's all mine. Eventually, I'll start cutting it. It'll be shorter. But I'm not gonna be like this one day and then the next day come up with dreads. You know what I mean? Now she's an actor on the stage of life. Exactly, exactly. But they're all actors on the stage of life. The ones that are pretending like they have money are just like the people who are pretending like they're beautiful. Because if you was beautiful, it wouldn't cost you $2,500 to look beautiful. You were born naturally beautiful. So all you have to do is not fuck yourself up. He said, Michael, uh that's what Solomon said. It's all vanity. Yeah, but Solomon had to fuck over a bunch of people before he started talking about it. He had to turn over a new leaf before he could start talking about it. But Solomon knew from experience. He said, sometimes I comb my hair if it is long, and that's as far as I go with it. I go a little bit further. I might put a little bit of water in it. I might run my fingers through my hair. I might use a brush one day. I might tie it down one time to keep it from getting all nappy and stuff. But your hair is better than mine because my hair is all coarse and stuff. You know what I mean? But do you think I got a hair treatment where I'm sitting over here, wash, rinse, conditioner, let it sit up, rollers sitting under a hair dryer, falling asleep, then I gotta sleep like this because I can't mess my hair up. Then when I wake up in the morning, I got to take it down. I got to blow dry it out, comb it out. Then I got to curl it a different way so that I got the natural curl thing going. You see how that bullshit going on? I'm trying to tell you. Shakespeare, Act 2, Scene 7. Hamlet. Hamlet. Now, wealthy individuals, these guys are planners. Research from the classic book, The Millionaire Next Door. That's going to be y'all's book of the night. The Millionaires Next Door shows that millionaires are far more likely to budget and track their spending. They know their numbers. They can tell you exactly what percentage of their income they save and invest, not because they're cheap, but because they're intentional. They steer their income towards buying assets, not liabilities. As their income grows and the gap between what they earn and what they spend gets wider, and that splurge that people do when they're broke, that's not what happens. When the gap between what they earn and what they spend gets wider, that surplus goes to work, building their net worth, right? So while the fake rich are trying to look like $1 million, the real rich are busy making sure they have $1 million, right? Difference number two, shopping carts. Appreciating assets versus depreciating junk. What people buy tells you almost everything that you need to know about their financial future. The fake rich fill their shopping carts with depreciating junk. These are things that plummet in value the second you buy them. So the luxury car that loses 20% of its value the moment you drive it off the lot. And this is what, for all intents and purposes, when we say this, people think that it lost 20% of its value after you bought it and drove it off the lot. No, when you use it on the test drive, as soon as you drove it off the lot before you bought it, 20% of its value is gone, which is why certified pre-owned vehicles are cheaper than new vehicles, because a certified pre-owned vehicle is a vehicle that's been on a lot for 1 to 2 years, that's been test driven up to 5,000 or 10,000 miles, but nobody ever bought it. But it's cheaper because as soon as somebody drove it off the lot, its value depreciated by 20%. So you can get you a 2025 model with 5 or 10,000 miles on it for $5 or $10,000 less than a 2026. Oh no, it lost 50% of its value once you bought it. First owner of the vehicle, 50% of its value. Off rip. Think about it like this. You might have bought the car from the dealership for $45,000, but as a trade-in, they might give you 20,000 for it. And it's going to be based on equity. So they might offer you 35,000 for it minus how much you still owe on it. So if you still owe $20,000, they'll give you 10. So you're not getting what you put into it, right? It's a depreciating value. It's not something that, oh, I'm going to hold on to this for a while. Yeah, after 30 years it's going to be worth more. No. 30 years of owning the same car, its price will reach a bottom line where it won't get any cheaper than this as long as it's kept in good condition. At this point, the value of the car will only go up because you are selling it for how much it cost to keep it this good. And that's going to be showroom stock original. So like you see those Cudas and Mustangs and all this other stuff, 60, $70,000 when they used to be when they were first sold $3 to $5,000. The inflated cost is not a pristine mint condition vehicle that was kept together and never used. It's a vehicle that was picked up out of a salvage yard, refurbished, and the cost to refurbish it plus $5 or $10,000, maybe even $15,000, so that they can negotiate downward a little bit, is the price of the car. So they're selling it at 65 because they put 45 into it. And if they can get 25 off of it, they will. Right? He said, I like it when we're on the same page. Me too. Me too. You be right when you be telling it to me a lot of the times, but Stephen, you be talking about specific circumstance. And we have to recognize that when you come from the circumstances of a person that's already fully established, that's not the same dynamic for somebody who's trying to get established. But when we're talking about like assets and value and valuations, it's standard across the board. But people will look at that luxury vehicle as it's a luxury vehicle. Uncommon Woman said, it's funny you mentioned sports cars. It's for all cars. But I mentioned a sports car because the reason why I mentioned sports cars is because like you see the muscle cars for sale. You see like the Cadillacs, the Chevelles, you see the luxury cars like Porsches and Rolls Royces from 20 years ago. You know, you see the either the really expensive cars that used to be really expensive back in the day being sold now for more than what they were sold originally, but less than what it would cost to get one brand new now. And you see sports cars that, for whatever reason, the previous owner no longer has them, and this dealership collected the car from somewhere, rebuilt it, repainted it, fully refurbished the inside of it, and now they're selling it like a brand new car. Nothing wrong with it, no check engine light problems. You can take it on a test drive, and it's fantastic. Those muscle cars, those sports cars, are collectibles, not because they're valuable over time, but because everybody wants one. Like, for example, there's a lot more of those fastback Mustangs that look like Eleanor from Gone in 60 Seconds that everybody wants to have, anywhere between 50 and $75,000. So the awesome muscle cars, right? Totally rebuilt, and more often than not, there's a salvage title attached to it. And nobody knows about that part. We don't talk about the fact that it's a salvage title, and we don't talk about if it is a salvage title, then you might not be able to get insurance on it. That's right, bullet. That's another one, right? So you now you got to get custom car insurance, and custom car insurance is going to be like Liberty Mutual. They're charging like $1,000 a month for your car insurance because it's a $70,000 car, and they're supposed to give you one exactly like that one, 1 to 5 years newer with 15 to 20,000 miles less. And if this is a one of a kind or one of 5,000 in America, you're not going to be able to replace that car. So if you say that this car is worth $75,000, you're going to be paying premiums to Liberty Mutual so that when this car gets totaled, they will give you back 75 or $80,000 back because they can't replace the car. But the funny thing is that you can get USAA, you can get the General, you can get Geico, you can get Allstate, and pay like $150 a month and put that other $700 a month aside and build that $70,000. And by the time your car crashes, you can take cash out of your brokerage account, go buy you a brand new car. It ain't gonna be a fucking 1956 Mustang convertible, but if your Toyota Camry got smashed up, you can now go and buy you a Lexus. Opportunity cost. Now, the designer handbags that will be out of style next season, that's what you'll see some of the people buying. The latest smartphone that'll be obsolete in 2 years. And truth be told, they put out a phone every 6 to 12 months. They put out a new phone, right? So if you bought a phone in October, your phone is outdated in comparison to the phone that just got released. It is what it is. Now, 2 years later, your phone is obsolete. 5 years later, they stop doing updates on your phone. They force you to buy a newer model because they stop putting patches on the older model. So right now I got a 2023, it's 2026. By 2028, I will have to buy another phone because they will stop patching the software on the 2023. So $1,500, which I got it for six because I put it on a plan, but a $1,500 phone for 5 years, that's $300 a year for a phone. And a lot of people actually trade the phone in after giving them all this money, get another phone, and they're giving them more money for the new phone where they're only rebated the $400 or $500 worth of taxes towards the new phone, which means you're leasing the phone. It's never yours, right? He said, yeah, planned obsolete. That Lexus is too rich for my blood. Give me the basic Toyota, not the luxury version. But my point though, because even still, you can go from a 1986 Toyota Celica. You can put instead of paying $700 a month for Liberty Mutual, you can pay $200 a month with any other insurance company. Put $500 a month away, and you can have your car for 3 years. And if you're putting away $500 a month for 3 years, you're putting away about $6,000 a year. And for 3 years, that's about $18,000 plus interest. If you're getting 10% interest a year, you're probably going to be getting like 600 plus a year every year, which means that your 6,600 is going to be something closer to $20,000 in 3 years. Even if you didn't get into a crash in 3 years, you could take that $20,000 and you can now go and get you a brand new car cash up front. Or if you just left the 20 grand in there, you held the car for 4 or 5 years. Now you've got like 30 grand in the bank. You're getting like 10% off of that. You're getting like $3,000 off of that, which is ultimately almost $200 a month, right? 200, $250 a month. That $250 a month is the car payment for a newer. So you go from your 1986 Toyota Corolla or your Toyota Celica GTS and you upgrade to like a 2015 Toyota Camry or a Toyota Supra, and now you're paying 250 a month from the brokerage account. The difference between what you would have paid for Liberty Mutual insurance versus a regular standardized insurance plan. One of my phones I got in 2016. Just use a phone as a phone. No bells, no whistles. Well, we got a flip phone from back in the day. Got a Nokia. Nokia's never died. Just slip a SIM card in that bit, it's gonna work. Like I says, if you're able to put 500 a month into savings, don't leave it in the bank. Invest in stock. That's what I'm talking about. You throw it into a brokerage account. That's that's giving you back 10% interest. If you throwing it into a brokerage account that's giving you 10% interest or more, you're putting away 6,000 a year. You're gonna build that stuff up to almost 20, and you're getting that 10%. That means you're gonna be getting 2,000 a year return until you decide to get you an upgrade. But when you go get you an upgrade, now you can calculate that you're making almost $200 a month off your brokerage account, which means you can go get you like a $15,000 car with a $200 a month payment on it. Your brokerage account pays for your car. Now you don't got to pay for your car. She said, no, it's a smartphone, like a BlackBerry. Yeah, I know. I know. I done been there back in the day. Back in the day. Uh, no TCA and no TCA flip phone. Not a flip phone. Oh, okay. You ain't doing that. Ah. Uh, I still got my pre-flip phone, brick phone in storage until it still charges up. Look now, these days, bro, you need to keep them old phones because especially the old phones that don't have the locks and stuff on it where you can just put anybody's SIM card in it and use it. You can simply take if your phone breaks, you can take your phone and put a SIM card in it and just start using that bitch. It'll register like that. That's what will work, bro. I got phones right now, and my case is falling apart, and I'm like, man, I got to get me a new case. Not fuck that, I got to get me a new phone. And why am I getting a new case? Because the rubber that's falling off of the phone is the buttons that on the case that would turn the phone on, turn the volume up and down, start functioning the phone. So instead of buying another $1,500 phone, get me a $10 phone case to replace the phone case that I've had for 3 years, and now I've got a phone for another 3 years. She's right. It's a smartphone, only $10 per month. Drop phone, burner phones. I know what y'all talking about. I know what y'all talking about. The flat face phones. They got the touch screen on it. That all you're doing is call, text, and email. I know what you're talking about. They got different brands. The first ones that I think about is Nokia, but then they got Nextel, and stuff to that effect. And I used to love those phones, especially the ones with the chirp. Is some people use the old phones as security cameras. Well, they're the best ones to use. Nobody pays them any attention. They're good for maintaining your security, whether it's less traceable calls, less GPS tracked situations, different IP numbers. There's all kinds of reasons why people are using the um, older model simplistic phones. Because instead of having a phone that can do everything that your laptop can do, your phone should only be for calls, text messages, and potentially emails. So my old phone was $2 a month. Woo! And that's cheap. Well, you don't really use it that much. Now, um, we're gonna talk about how the fake rich are gonna be the masters of conspicuous consumption, walking billboards for luxury brands, thinking that a logo can buy them status. But every dollar that they spend on a depreciating good is a dollar that will never work for them again. These people are literally trading their future financial freedom for a quick hit of social validation. Oh, I see you in your Louis Vuitton. Oh, I see you with your J's on. You know what I mean? That's it. That's it. You were seen. This whole act is driven by a deep insecurity and a need to project an image of success that they haven't actually earned. That fake it till you make it thing, people don't really know what that means. It doesn't mean put on a whole different persona and spend money to look like you are something that you're not. It means that you are supposed to perform the task as if you know what you're doing until you know what you're doing. Because in corporate society, they expect you to come pre trained, but the work is for it's the training work, the intro level stuff. So you're supposed to come pre trained for stuff that you've never experienced before. So you're supposed to project the confidence that even if you don't know what you're doing, that you can learn quick enough that you're not going to slow the company down. That's what fake it till you make it means. You don't have to know what's going on your first day at work, but by the end of your first month, you should have a fucking idea. All right. You should have been doing your research. If you really value your job, you're not just showing up to get a paycheck. You're learning about the company. You should have been learning about the company before the interview. And then you should be learning about the ins and outs of your job and the job titles that impact your job so that you can find better ways to incorporate yourself into the smooth flow of things. That's faking it until you make it. But what people are doing these days, faking until they make it, they're overspending on their society so that they can look rich, going broke while doing it so that people can be impressed that they had the capabilities of spending a bunch of money where no one who praises this behavior thinks, did he even pay his fucking bills? Y'all remember Cash Money Millionaires? I got money, but my bills ain't paid. I don't remember the lyrics, word for word, but Cadillac tank on me. I'm at the bar, drinks on me. What he's saying is that I'm letting my whole financial stability go undone so that I can look rich and spend money on the club and show off for other people. I got an eviction notice. Come and take my house. I dare you, right? Birdman, right? You know what I'm talking about. Yeah. You remember I forgot the other one where they did the music video in the projects where they had in the courtyard of the project Still Fly. That's right. Still Fly. They had 12 different expensive cars in the Section 8 projects. And I'm sitting over here like, how do you have so much money and an eviction notice on your house at the same damn time? A fool and his money shall soon part. That is true. That is true. That's one of Michael's old sayings. He said that a lot. All my money spent, that's okay because I'll still fly. That's right. And the kids take that and they incorporate that into their way of life, their way of spending. Mom, give me an allowance so that I can buy X, Y, and Z. Then mom's gonna say, boss, give me a raise and a promotion and some overtime so that I can make extra money to give my kid an allowance so that my kid can go and buy X, Y, and Z. Then mom is still broke because mom is living from paycheck to paycheck minus the money that she's giving her kid for her kid to go and look rich at school with the other kids that are all on the free lunch program because their parents are too poor to pay for lunch. Well, if your kid's got name brand clothes, ma'am, your kid should not be on a free lunch program. We capitalized off the ignorant. I haven't heard that in years, but it's so valid. You do realize that most of the music from the 90s, from the 80s and the 90s, especially the rap music, has become the behavior patterns of 2025 and 2026. Listen to those rap songs now and look at how the kids behave now. And you can see that the kids that are between 16 and 20 right now learn this behavior from their parents who are at this point 25 to 36. We wore Geranimals. That's what we wore. But what they got the kids in right now? Little 2 year olds wearing Louis Vuitton and Calvin Klein and what's that other one? Contra, Shakur, whoever. I can't think of all the stuff that they be doing. They be putting on these kids. Baby got baby clothes that cost $200 for an outfit, $75 for the shoes. Baby can't even walk. Baby look expensive. But notice what I said though. Baby looks expensive. Children are generally expensive when you're getting $5 outfits from Walmart. You're getting $5 onesies from Walmart. So when you get a two piece that costs 500 bucks, I mean, really? I wouldn't dare. Let me tell you something. When my child's clothes cost $500, I'm gonna put my child in that outfit and put him back on the shelf. Child mama gonna be looking at me like, "What you doing? That's my baby." I'm gonna put her on the shelf right next to him. The effective. Now you can have both of them. I ain't paying for all that shit. Look, the truly wealthy have a totally different shopping list. And that's not what people pay attention to. But that's what I've been trying to tell you guys on a regular basis. Y'all got to think about this differently. And when I try to tell the women to think about these things differently, because when I tell women, look, instead of getting that guy that's going to take you out on the first date and throw $500 at you on the first date, because that shows you that he can be wasteful with a stranger. Look for a guy who's going to be practical about his money and his time, and be able to do something with you where you learn something about him. He can learn something about you. He's fiscally responsible, and y'all benefit from the interaction from one another without him having to impress you with all the money that he spent. If you meet a guy and he's spending $500 on you on the first night, he doesn't know your last name. He doesn't know your middle name. You gave him a nickname and your Instagram feed. He is not a valuable man to you because ladies are looking for a man with financial security, and he doesn't have that financial security because he's able to blow $500 on a stranger in one night. He's able to blow $1,000, $2,000 on a stranger in one night. So if you date this guy to marry, he will be the same kind of guy. Even if he's not doing this with other women, he would be the same kind of guy that would be spending this money on his homeboys. $800 birthday parties, $1,000 Christmas presents, $1,500 whatever, whatever, showing off for strangers, which is money coming out of your household. And if you guys are on a paycheck to paycheck lifestyle where two of y'all come together for the lifestyle creep, y'all living in a better standard of living, but you're still paycheck to paycheck. Every time your boyfriend takes his money out of the house and goes and spends it on other people, that's less money in the house. And who's covering the spread? The wife. So when you meet a dude and he's willing to take you out to steak and lobster, and you know steak and lobster $250 to $500, that's okay. I'm more of a Starbucks McDonald's kind of person. Baby clothes, admire a dozen at sales, bro. A dime a dozen at sales, bro. I'm talking about you expensive. Baby clothes in 2026 is free. All you got to do is go to a pregnant woman. No, go to a woman with a 5 year old. He got baby clothes. Every woman in America with a 5 year old has clothes from when that child was between 1 and 3 and she hasn't thrown it away yet. Maybe we'll have another kid. You don't want to, but you're hoping, you know? So all you got to do is just go over there and be like, hey, y'all got some baby stuff that y'all don't mind letting go? And most baby showers is that hand me down persona because 1 year olds don't give a shit if 18 other kids have worn this outfit. Long as I'm fed, right? Fed, held, that's it, right? Burp, whatever else they need, right? So baby clothes are far cheaper than a dime a dozen. Baby clothes, you should probably like a bag, a garbage bag full of baby clothes for 10 cents. Like you should be able to get that shit for free. You should be able to you as a man, you should be able and dry. Yep, they gotta stay dry because nothing like being wet. Everybody gets sassy when they wet, ladies. Um but as a man, you should be hosting a baby shower. You should be hosting a 2 year old shower. You should be hosting a 5 year old shower. And why am I saying it like that? Because just as quick as somebody will give these clothes to you when a child is 1 and 2, because the kids is growing fast. They only gonna wear the clothes for a couple weeks, maybe a month, and then after that they don't fit it no more. You got all these bags you don't want to get rid of. Somebody come and say, "Hey, I'll take that off your hands for you." Nothing, right? You get some free clothes. They get space in their house. Nah, you see somebody else is pregnant. What you gonna do? Hey, you want these clothes? I got all these baby clothes. Boom, you got rid of the bag too. So baby clothes ain't supposed to be nothing. So when you got a parent spending $500 on one outfit when you can get like societal hand me downs, they do it too much. But let's look at this wealthy shopping list because these guys focus on acquiring appreciating assets, things that have the potential to grow in value or produce an income over time. So you want to think about it like this: real estate that generates rent, stock in solid companies that pay dividends, a piece of a profitable business, or even just boring low cost index 500 funds. And these are going to be ones that compound silently for decades. A quiet millionaire I know once told me, every dollar I don't spend impressing strangers is a dollar that can work for me. And the dollars are excellent employees because they work 24/7 and they never complain. So every dollar I don't spend impressing strangers is a dollar that can work for me. And a dollar uh, is an excellent employee because they will work 24/7 and never complain. That mindset changes everything. The truly rich ask a simple question before a big purchase: will this be worth more or produce income in the future? Now, I'm going to pause right there because I just want ladies, you can understand the mindset of men real quick. When you buy your hair, your nails, your eyelashes, your makeup, if you ask yourself, will this be worth more or produce income in the future? And if the answer is no, then you didn't buy it. You wouldn't buy all that shit. Them red bottom shoes, you wouldn't buy that shit. Coach purse, you wouldn't buy all that shit, right? Steven says that's called assets. Yes, sir. And this is true assets because broke-minded people call girls asses assets. She's got nice assets. No, she's atomically correct for her size, but she's got a bad attitude anyway. So, you got to really think, like, is this worth your financial investments? Yeah, she's attractive. Yeah, you might get laid, but you're spending a lot of money for her to be nice to you. And when she decides to stop being nice to you, all that money is gone. It's non-refundable. He said, depend on the guy I catch. Oh, you know it, right? The girls is always say, oh yeah, I'll change my attitude for the right guy. So what you're telling me is that you're never going to show your value until you find a guy that you value. And then that will be the guy that you're going to project value to. But you haven't practiced projecting value. So you don't really know or remember or understand what value really is. You know what you value, but you believe that men value the same thing that you value. And when men tell you that they don't value the same thing that you value, your response to that is, well, they should. Instead of finding out what men value and then being that. A dealership doesn't make the customer change. Dealership changes the product. If everybody's buying the Mustangs, we're going to put more Mustangs on the line. We're not going to make customers come and buy a Pinto, right? They're buying the Mustangs. We're just going to put more Mustangs on the line. Give them what they want. The customer is always right. So if women are supposed to be the prize and the women are the business, the women are producing a product, the men are the customer, the men are paying for the product, it's supposed to be what he wants, not what she wants, because that's what he's paying for. What he wants, not what she wants, which requires her to do what she's told to get what she wants, which is a paycheck. That puts her in an employee status if she's not providing a service as a company. And in either scenario, the spender has the most control over the outcome of the situation because he can always pull his money. And from the perspective of her, where she doesn't benefit from him pulling his money, she must do what it takes to keep his money flowing. Think about that, ladies, as we go into the next part. Because the fake rich are filling their closets. And while they're filling their closets, the real rich are filling their portfolios. The third difference is going to be the fuel source, strategic debt versus shackling debt. Debt is a tool, and like any powerful tool, it can be used to build or to destroy. How someone uses debt is one of the clearest signs of their financial wisdom. The fake rich use debt as a shackle. They see credit cards and personal loans as free money to finance a lifestyle that they can't actually afford. The average credit card debt is thousands of dollars, often at an interest rate of 20% or more. And this is a good guarantee to have a path towards staying poor. He says, remember to like and subscribe. Yes, sir. Debt to income, DTI, but it's also debt to credit. Debt to credit. Should be debt to credit to income. um, they finance cars, vacations, and even dinners with borrowed money, trapping themselves in a cycle of revolving debt where they're constantly paying interest on yesterday's consumption. Now, this isn't just bad money management, it's a form of modern day servitude because you're working just to pay for the ghosts of purchases past. The fake rich can't stand delaying gratification. They want it now. And I had that conversation with the cowgirl on the show like a month or so ago, where she was saying that we're missing out on the best parts of life right now by foregoing instant gratification for delayed gratification. But the lifestyle that you have later is going to matter more to you then than the lifestyle in your memory from today of what you already did before. Just like those kids I was talking to you guys at the top of the show about, like 5, 10, 20, 30, $50,000 that they're spending on prom. Bentleys, Rolls Royces, DB9s, jets, all this other stuff, clothes made of money and all this other stuff. Tomorrow, next week, they're still going to be broke. Yeah, for the first couple weeks, oh girl, I was killing it. I was slaying them. Oh, you know it, bro. Man, I had the whole flow on lock. But you and every other broke dude in the building had money, large quantities of money in your pocket, expensive clothes, showed up in an expensive car, all this other stuff. And you and like 50 other people all did the exact same thing, wasted a shit ton of money. 2, 3 weeks later, a month later, look, you're doing it now. Let's imagine August, first semester of college. Nobody at your college went to your prom. So now you're only telling the story of the day that your mama and daddy spent 50 grand for your prom. You're at this college on a financial aid plan with grants and scholarships because your parents are too poor to pay for your tuition, but they spent 50 grand on your prom. When you start explaining that story in college, you are not going to be proud of it anymore because the money that they spent on prom could have covered your entire college education. And you could have took all the student loans out at a reduced rate, put them into a brokerage account, flipped a bunch of money, and then paid back whatever was left and kept all of that extra money to generate a large quantity of revenue, which you can't do now because you're living from refund to refund. Yep. Prom $50,000 in cash. It's daddy's money. Yep, from child support. Definitely. The fake rich want the money now, they want the gratification now, and debt gives them the illusion that they can have it, right? The truly rich, on the other hand, are allergic to consumer debt. They view monthly payments for stuff as a play, right? Many of them pay for cars with cash, pay off their credit cards in full every single month. They know that high interest debt is a wealth destroying cancer. However, and this is a crucial difference, they aren't afraid of using debt strategically. They use leverage to acquire appreciating assets. For example, they might take out a mortgage on a rental property where the tenant's rent will cover the payments while the property grows in value. Or a business owner might take out a loan for new equipment that will boost profits. Yeah, but you hate all debt, Michael. I only hate the debt that doesn't make no damn sense. The debt that makes sense, I'm like, yeah, let's do that. In these cases, the debt is tied to an income producing asset, not a depreciating lifestyle good. So while the fake rich use debt to look wealthy, the real rich use it to become wealthy. Difference number four is going to be the conversations, financial fluency versus financial flexing. Not just only for business, because personally, you can invest in real estate without having a business, because you cannot sell real estate for somebody else without a real estate license, but you can buy as many properties as you want for yourself, rent them out, and sell them for yourself because you're doing it for yourself. Yes, definitely always do your homework, get that knowledge, and always take intentional actions towards this stuff. Because if you just run out there half cocked, I'm gonna be a wholesale flipper, you stuck with a fucking property you can't afford to pay. So just listening to how people talk about money, the fake rich are going to be loud. They love to financially flex. They'll boast about their salary, the price of their new watch, or how much they dropped on vacations. The conversations are littered with brand names and price tags. This constant need to broadcast their spending habits is a massive red flag. It usually comes from a deep feeling of inadequacy. They're trying to convince you and themselves that they're important. And I know I'm important. I was hanging out with somebody yesterday, met that person for the first time. Today, that person recognized me out of a lineup. Like we were just sitting there, we was out there talking. Dude came up, he's like, "Don't I know you from somewhere?" And I'm like, "Well, yeah. Yesterday, if you was over by my house, that was the same dog in the car. That was the dog that was walking down the street." Oh snap! Small town. um, but if you ask them about their investments, fake rich. If you ask fake rich about their investments, the answers start getting vague. They might mumble about a hot crypto tip that they got from a friend that they actually didn't even invest in, or a meme stock they gambled on, but they didn't make any money off of it. But there's no coherent strategy. Yeah, I put money into investments and you got nothing out. Is that lineup okay? Yeah, yeah. Because I was standing there with everybody else waiting on them to come get this bitch off the side of the road. We were just looking for like 45 minutes. Now, a fake rich individual, they can't talk about their savings rates. They can't talk about their net worth. They can't talk about their path to financial independence. Their financial knowledge is shallow. They speak the language of spending, not the language of building. Dude, dog, yeah, yeah. I don't know if you've ever seen him. He's not here right now because he's in the other room. He's in the recliner watching Netflix. So I'm just gonna let him lay there and watch Netflix until I'm done with the podcast. But yesterday he was hanging out with the neighbors, and we were recognized by some folks today. And I'm like, yeah, if you were over on this street with these people, the dog that was hanging out with you is this dog in the car. Oh yeah, I remember that dog. He just went home. I'm worth $1. I don't know, man. It's 72 years old. You should be worth 72 cents. What you got? A Staffordshire Terrier, medium size, chocolate fluffy. That's what she said. Um, so the truly rich are going to be the opposite of the fake rich when talking about money. They're often completely silent about their actual wealth in public. They know that broadcasting wealth is just asking for trouble from scammers, lawsuits, and social resentment, IRS, auditing, all this other stuff. So your dog is gaining celebrity status. They have a section of this podcast. There's a lot of dog videos from before. I haven't been recording them because I haven't been going places, but I was supposed to, as I travel around and get stuff done, I'm supposed to record them in action and then make videos and put them up there, um, up there onto the podcast. So when they start going different places and start doing things, and the dog starts going across the world and everything like that, you're like, shoot, this dog is everywhere. Yes, I know. Yes, I know. And actually, the dogs do have a little bit of celebrity because I've actually walked into a subway one time. I know that dog. I seen him on YouTube the other day. Wow. Okay. So you see my channel pass by your screen. Okay. He's got a pity. He's not a pity. They do make pit bulls out of this type of breed, though. They mix them with English bulldogs. So they mix the Staffordshire Terriers with the English bulldog to get the pit bull. That's crossbreeding kind of thing. Now, the financially wealthy, they have nothing to prove to strangers because their success is going to be internal. You know. However, in private, with trusted friends or mentors, their money conversations are totally going to be different. They talk about strategy, not price tags. They discuss allocations. They discuss tax efficiencies, estate planning, and business opportunities. Not, I got X number of dollars in the bank, right? Their conversations are about how to grow and protect the wealth that you already have, not showing off or even planning on how to show off the fact that you have wealth. They're going to be fluent in the language of finance because they are constantly learning from everybody around them about what to do and how to do it to make their money grow greater. With the fake rich, they're going to be talking about the labels on their clothes, and the real rich are going to be discussing the ideas in their heads. And the irony is that the real rich is going to come up with the idea that the fake rich will buy, and the fake rich is going to be putting money in the real rich's pocket. She said, "I have twin Staffords, and they are crazy. No, I got the dudes." So he's calm after he stopped pumping the cops last year. Now he's now he's calm. He's content. Oh yeah, it definitely becomes a game, Michael. It definitely becomes a game. Talking about money versus talking about spending money, it becomes a whole different game, bro. When you can get into a cluster of grown men and talk about enhancing your portfolio instead of getting into a cluster of grown men and talking about how to go broke faster, you find yourself not only more valuable, but forward thinking and connecting with other men that are also forward thinking. One or two things is going to happen. You're either going to pass on information to other people, which will make you more valuable to them, where they will invest in you, or they're going to pass some knowledge on to you that you didn't know about that'll help you be better than what you were. Like you say, it's assets allocations. Exactly. And that's what we have to discuss. Now, number five, the fifth difference, the mindset, long-term visions versus short-term validations. Wealth isn't built overnight. No strategy or plan that I ever give you is an overnight get rich quick scheme. Even the 20% return on investment that you're looking at from real estate investment trust only look like they will exist for the duration of the war, and they will linger back down to 18 to 15%. But your whole portfolio shouldn't be real estate investment trust. But if it were, while that would be highly volatile, you would have exceptional cash growth for that period of time that the 20% is benefiting from you. But in order for you to experience true growth in your portfolio, you will have to at some point reallocate those dividends to other more diverse stocks that will build you some growth on top of your portfolio's cash generations. I said it's comfortable to be around people of the same thoughts. That is true. It really is. Because you don't go places, not a lot of people want to go places to debate with other people. Sometimes we don't mind debating, but a lot of the times we would prefer to be around like-minded people. So we typically avoid people that we don't always agree with, right? Or we just avoid the conversations that we know we're not going to agree on, right? One of the two. Wealth is going to be the result of consistent, disciplined actions over a long, long, long time. And this requires a different sense of time. The fake rich operate on a very short lifetime horizon. Their decisions are all about immediate gratification and social validation, which is why early on, Michael was talking about how back in the day, he would have not complained about and potentially looked forward to dropping a little extra on prom because that's like a once in a lifetime situation. I had four proms. I mean, it that experience at that price level might only happen once in your lifetime, but at the end of the day, it's that should not be the highlight of your life. That should be the starting point. So if you went from 0 to 100 that quick, and then you're gonna level off at 30, where your greatest moments after that might peak 50, 60, and 70, where you never get back to as good as it was in high school. You will be that middle-aged person completely depressed and unsatisfied about your life because you could not achieve anything above prom, short-term gratification. Not only comfortable, but common sense. Comfortable and common sense are not intertwined with one another. So I'm glad that you said that. There are some people that would prefer to be around people that don't make intentionally stupid decisions. So if you have common sense, it is more comfortable for some people to be around you because they don't have to deal with the stupidity. You know, um, the financially wasteful they think in terms of the next paycheck, in terms of the next Instagram post, in terms of the next weekend that they're preparing for, right? The next adventure, right? Michael says, starting point was the day I popped out and said, put me back in. Well, that's Stewie Griffin. But true, the starting point, when I say the starting point, I don't mean the starting point of life. I mean the starting point of your success. The starting point of your own self made success. That's going to be the dynamic uh, of getting those good grades by taking the correct tests in school. So your first levels of success is your GPA fresh out of high school. Or if you dropped out of school for whatever reason, your test scores from your GED and your SATs, right? If you're going to college, your second levels of success is continuing to make those grades in college. Getting a job is a level of success. Getting promotions on that job is a level of success. Even if it's a fast food restaurant, even if it's a warehouse at an Amazon, it is a level of success. Getting raises and promotions is a level of success. Buying your first car with your own money and your own credit history, because a lot of times your parents can buy you a car and that's your first car, but they gave it to you. That was a gift. When you buy your own, that is a stepping stone in life. When you can finance your own, when you can lease your own, that is a stepping stone. When you can fill out an application and get approved by yourself, that is another stepping stone. Whether it's a credit card, whether it's a mortgage, whether it's a lease for an apartment, when you can sign up for something on your own status and get accepted, those are stepping stones. So when I said that uh the most peak moment in somebody's life, the starting point of the greatest moment ever was stepping out of that expensive car, wearing that expensive outfit with more money in their hands in prom than what they will ever hold for the rest of their life. That's when I was like, yeah, I don't I don't want my starting point to peak at prom and then it's downhill after that and never be able to reach that peak a second time. That's not what I want to have. So I popped out running, tennis shoes on, umbrella flopping behind me. Stewie Griffin. Stewie Griffin. Right. Now, this the short-term thinking that we're talking about right here is going to lead to impulsive spending. I tolerate some of it. I tolerate some of it. But it's going to lead to impulsive spending and chasing the trends. They're going to jump on every get rich quick scheme from meme stocks to shady crypto coins, hoping that they're going to win a lottery. A lot of people who play lottery, the scratch offs and everything like that. Oh, you can't win if you don't play. Yeah, you probably could. Because if you think about how much money you spend per ticket, per loss, And then you think about how uh each ticket these days is like one or two shares of common stock. You could have been for each time that you failed to win the lottery, you could have been building on your brokerage account. You would still be rich, reaching those milestones in life. That's right. She's telling you to cut the bullshit out, Michael. That's what she's telling you. So those financially irresponsible individuals, they don't have the patience for real wealth creation. Because Michael used Warren Buffett as an example, but Warren Buffett famously said the stock market is a device for transferring money from the impatient to the patient. The fake rich are always on the impatient side of that trade. The truly wealthy, by contrast, think in decades. They are financial guardians, planting seeds today that they know will grow into mighty trees in 20 or 30 years. They embrace the power of compounding. They aren't rattled by short term market dips because they aren't investing for next month. They are investing for the next generation. And this long term vision guides everything that they do. He said, no, I was correcting my typo. Yeah, but when you was correcting you corrected your typo of mucho stop. So you was telling mucho to stop. I'm not gonna change. You right. He's 72 years old. I'm typo. No, you not typo. You're type F minus because you didn't study. He's very comical. He's very comical. Now, the long term vision is going to guide everything that a wealthy person does. So they're going to prioritize saving and investing a huge portion of their income, often at least 20% or more, not just when it's convenient, but consistently, month after month, year after year. They understand that building a solid financial foundation is a marathon, not a sprint. So, this patient disciplined approach is maybe the most boring and yet the most powerful secret of the wealthy. Now, while the fake rich are chasing the sugar high of a new purchase, the real rich are quietly enjoying the slow, steady march of compounding growth. The difference that you're going to see for number six is the social strategies, deliberate privacy versus desperate publicity, which is what we've seen with the kids showboating for prom, throwing all that money away for prom. Look at someone's social media page, and you'll get a pretty good idea of their financial reality. The fake rich crave publicity. Their social media is carefully crafted of a shrine to their supposed success. Every post is a performance. Their uh, campaign is going to be champagne on a plane, the staged photo in a hotel lobby, the close up of a designer logo. They're posing on a car, specifically where you can see the logo on the car so that you know when you look at the photo that they're sitting near or leaning up against an expensive vehicle, right? And then wait for the comments to roll in. They need witnesses. Their self worth is outsourced to the likes and the comments of strangers. This desperate need for an audience makes them incredibly fragile. Every dollar spent on that performance is a dollar that can't be used to build real security. They're so busy trying to look successful that they don't have the time or the resources to actually ever become successful. Yeah, you might be getting a few 100,000 views on your shorts reel, but they're only paying you like $100 off of those few 100,000 views, if that. but you spent thousands of dollars to get the few $100. So it's not like you're turning a profit on your spending more money than you're making. The truly rich have the exact opposite strategy. They cultivate privacy. For them, um, amnesty is going to be the new luxury. They want to be anonymous. They want to be invisible. They want to be unseen. They want to be unknown, off the grid. You understand? They understand that visibility creates vulnerability. It's going to attract envy, pressure, and risk. Why would you want to paint a target on your back for thieves or even scammers? The quieter you are, the safer you are. If you got you a brand new house, all your friends and your family want to know about it. They want to come and see it. They want the address, this, that, and the third, so they can pop up on you and see what they can get. But if nobody knows that you got something, then nobody knows that you got something worth taking, right? They're waiting for their ability to find an excuse to take from you what you work for. He says, I hide from success, dressed like a bum. Many of the wealthiest people have little to no social media presence, or if they have social media presence, it's deliberately boring. Yeah, because why are we going to give you a tour of the house? Why are we going to position ourselves in a place where the entire house is in the background? That's what poor people do. You get to see one fucking wall. That's it. No windows, no doors, no entryways. You don't get to see what's outside. If you're here for an individual of wealth, you're here to talk to the person or hear from the person. So why does what happened in the background got to be part of the show? Typically, with poor people, they find the best place in the house, and then they project from there. So sometimes the best looking place in the house might be the kitchen. Sometimes the best looking place in the house might be the living room, and they just project from there. A lot of times you see people. I've noticed this. You got some girls that be live streaming in their closet. I'm sitting over here like, why are you in the bathroom? Why are you in this tiny ass room when you got? Because they don't want everybody else to be involved. They don't have a studio, so they turn their closet into a studio. The rest of the house look like shit, so you might as well look at me in the closet. He said, I'm only on LinkedIn. I am nowhere. This podcast is it. This podcast, wherever this podcast is viewed, that's it. And it's through the podcast. So if you weren't looking for the podcast, you wouldn't find me. If you're looking for me, I don't exist. He said, put the urine bottle down, use a cup. Good advice. No, this is actually Arizona tea, but I like the way you think. It's better for the ginseng, and I drink it by the gallon. The way I got a 36-ounce bottle, a cup of coffee, got a gallon jug of ginseng, and then I used to have a 20-ounce bottle of water, and I'm sitting here drinking all of that over the last 3 hours. So for me to sit here, etiquette, I need to talk about etiquette on the show. For me to talk about etiquette, I should have another 36-ounce glass that I can keep filling up with that gallon jug. But I have not improved my etiquette yet. When I do, you'll notice. Now, um, the wealthy, they don't post pictures of their homes or their cars. They don't need the validation because they've already won the game internally. This privacy gives them freedom to live without judgment, freedom to make decisions based on their own values, and the freedom to protect their peace of mind. Peace, they've discovered, is the ultimate flex. Yes, true, images. While the fake rich are shouting for attention, the real rich are quietly buying back their time and their peace. Now, the seventh difference is going to be the emotional state. Inner peace versus outer panic. And I want to be honest, money is emotional. How people relate to it emotionally is a powerful clue to their true financial self. Fake wealth creates constant anxiety. Living a lie is stressful. There's the no stop pressure to keep up the facade, to follow the trends, and to project an image of effortless success that is anything but effortless. People who are fake rich are often under immense financial pressures. They're living on razor thin margins with tons of debt. One unexpected event, a job loss, medical bill, a market downturn, can make their entire world crumble. This fragility creates a constant low grade panic. If you ask them about their finances, you can feel the tension. They might get defensive or try to deflect with a joke. The anxiety is a dead giveaway that their financial house is built on sand. It says, money gives you room to think. It becomes a cushion against life. You are exactly right. You are exactly right. Now, true wealth, on the other hand, is going to create that calm, just like Michael's talking about. When you have a solid financial foundation, a diversified portfolio, healthy emergency fund, and little to no consumer debt, you can weather life's storms. A stock market crash isn't a source of panic, it's a buying opportunity. This emotional stability is one of the greatest rewards of building wealth. The goal isn't just to have a big number in an account, it is to buy freedom from worry. It is the ability to wake up in the morning without a knot of anxiety in your stomach. It is the peace of mind that comes from knowing you have options and you are in control of those options. The real rich aren't just accumulating money, they are accumulating security, resilience, and tranquility. Fake wealth looks impressive, but real wealth feels calm. Difference number eight. I think we might have 10 differences here. The reaction to the risk, chasing a hot tip versus following a boring plan. How someone approaches risk reveals everything about them. The fake rich are gamblers. They always are hunting for the next hot tip, the shortcut that will make them rich overnight. Their investment strategies is based on hype and FOMO, fear of missing out. They hear about a friend who made money on some crypto coin and they pile in at an absolute peak of crypto. They see a meme stock soaring and they bet the farm without understanding a single thing about the actual business. They're attracted to complexity and novelty, thinking a fancy sounding investment must be a good one. They are impatient and easily swayed by headlines and noise. So, in short, they're trying to win the lottery, not build wealth. It's an approach that is a recipe for financial disaster, constantly buying high and selling low in a panic. Because it would be like getting pulled over and getting a ticket. You don't worry about it. You just pay it and going on with your life. Poor, you start worrying how to pay it. Oh shit! No, it's a little bit worse than that. When you're poor, you're worried about them finding out about the other 12 that you haven't paid, knowing that you're driving on a suspended license because you couldn't afford to pay them. Your registration lapsed because your insurance is unpaid. And dude is running your paperwork in the back about to take your ass to jail because you didn't do what you were supposed to do with your money, but you riding around in an expensive car that looked like you got it like that. Yeah. But that is a good example, Michael. Very good example. Truly wealthy individuals are not gamblers. They are system builders. Their approach is to invest. And this is going to be often described as boring. And that's exactly why it works. They aren't looking for a quick win. They're patiently executing a long term plan. This plan usually involves a few simple proven principles: diversification, low cost, and consistency. They invest in things like broad market index funds, which give them a small piece of thousands of companies rather than trying to find the one needle in a haystack. They automate their investments so a piece of their income is invested every single month, no matter what the market is doing. They are patient and disciplined, staying the course even when things get rocky. They know that real wealth is built through the slow, steady, and boring process of compounding, not by chasing the trends. While the fake rich are looking for a miracle, the real rich are trusting the math. Like the tortoise and the hare, slow and steady has always won the race. Swift and fast will keep you from getting arrested, but slow and steady will always win the race. Um, I invest in myself. Best investment ever. It is investing in yourself is probably the longest positive return on investment that you'll ever have. Because the only investment that should never let you down is you. Not too many people think about that. The difference number 9 is going to be the definition of luxury: brand goods versus freedom of time. What does the word luxury actually mean? The answer separates these two groups completely. For fake rich, luxury is external and visible. It's about branded goods, designer labels, and status symbols. That $5,000 handbag or $1,000 pair of shoes is a costume they wear to feel important. The problem is, this kind of luxury is a bottomless pit. There's always a more expensive brand and a more exclusive item. It's a status game that can't be won, only paid for. The truly wealthy have a radically different definition of luxury. For them, the ultimate luxury isn't the things that you can buy, it's the freedom, specifically the freedom of time. They measure their wealth not in dollars, but in years of financial runway. They can say, I can maintain my current lifestyle for 20 years without ever having to work again. That's a real prize. When you see wealth through that lens, your spending decisions completely change. Most of the people watching the show today can think about the fact that the money that they have in their pocket today might last them till the end of the month at best. And if you didn't get another paycheck this month, the money that you have today is probably enough to get you to work until the end of the week. By next week, Saturday, you'll be broke. If you're not already broke, waiting on Monday's paycheck for Thursday or Wednesday to direct deposit, right? When you see this mentality of wealth being the number of years that you can go without having to work and still maintain the current lifestyle that you have, a lot of people will be able to truly admit, I am broke as fuck, because you're living from paycheck to paycheck. That $80,000 luxury car isn't just a car, it's a year or more of your freedom that you just traded away. Because a lot of times, if y'all are making $40,000 a year, that $80,000 luxury car is 2 years worth of income. That $500 goes a long way nowadays for your gas tank. Hey, god dang, $5.38 a gallon. $500 goes a long way in your gas tank. It'll get you what, 10 gallons, 15 gallons of gas. Woo. Um, the expensive lifestyles aren't just nice. It's a golden cage that chains you to a high stress job that you might not even like because it's the only one that can pay for the way you live. The quiet wealthy spend money to buy back their time and reduce stress. They might hire a house cleaner, use a grocery delivery service, or pay an accountant. These are invisible upgrades that don't show up on Instagram, but massively improve their quality of life. If you've got a large piece of property and you pay a landscaper to come and cut the grass and grow the grass and plant your flowers and trim the trees, now your yard looks nice, but you don't have to spend 5 minutes outside. You paying somebody to clean your house and do your laundry and wash your dishes. Now your house is clean and you didn't have to spend 1 minute in the sink washing dishes. See what I'm saying? A lot of times you pay people to watch your kids so that you don't got to spend 1 minute being a responsible parent. But you buy back your freedom. All right. These people understand that money is just stored time and energy. And they are incredibly careful about trading that stored freedom for things that don't actually make their lives better. While the fake rich are buying things to impress people, the real rich are buying the freedom to not have to impress anyone at all. Because you got to think about this. What's more impressive? Pulling up in a $1 billion luxury car to an event and then returning that luxury car back to Enterprise when you're done with it and catching the bus back home from the Enterprise so that you can wonder how you're going to pay your rent, or having a chauffeur drive you around in a Toyota Camry so that you don't have to drive while you're paying attention to your stocks and you're capable of not having to go to work ever. Truth of the matter is, the um, wealthy would take the second choice. The fake wealthy would take the first. Buying my time back is the goal. Pulling up in a Toyota is better. And I use Toyota because I figure you would say pulling up in a Toyota was better. But it's the difference between pulling up in a Bugatti and then having to return that bitch and catching a bus back home versus pulling up in being driven in a Nissan Maxima by somebody who's going to pay attention to the road while you're closing on big money trades in the back seat. Still, the second one is better. I can maximize my time by having somebody else focus on my commute while I make money in the back seat versus I'm driving myself everywhere. I don't have the time to do anything because I'm paying attention to the road because I don't want to mess up this car because it's not mine and I've got to bring it back. Another thing about money gives you time instead of giving your time to someone else for triple overtime hours. I don't want that attention. Rather not have to pull a weapon on a robber. You know what? I would love to pull a weapon on a robber. I would prefer not to have the stress of having to micromanage everything myself. I would prefer to delegate my responsibilities to highly capable individuals that each one specializes in the task that they perform so that they can do it far better than what I ever could have attempted, which would make my situation more effective. I'll see you tomorrow night, Michael, because at the end of the day, when you put your money towards specialists, you got an accountant that keeps your money on point with the IRS. You have your housekeeper keeping your house on point. You have a housekeeper that cooks that keeps your diet on point. You have your landscaper that keeps your yard on point. You got your chauffeur that keeps your vehicles on point. That's less stuff you have to think about because the person that's managing that is planning and thinking and budgeting how to keep that optimized. Now you got a team of people that is dealing with the things that would otherwise stress you out. So it's not so much about me having to pull a weapon on a robber. Because if I was driving a Nissan Maxima and they knew that I had money in the trunk, they would come and rob me. The fact is that if they didn't know that I had anything and I'm sitting in the back of the car just chilling, nobody's gonna walk up on a Nissan Maxima, but everybody wants a Bugatti, right? It's that loud wealth that it's the fake presentation of wealth because a lot of the times in order to be seen in a Bugatti you have to rent it from somebody who owns it. And that's when the wealthy are benefiting from buying cars because they'll buy a luxury car and then they'll rent that bitch out for $500 to $1,000 a day. And then you rent it from them and you drive the car around and they get paid for having the car as a tax appreciating asset. And then you're going to pay them money for using the car, which turns to profit, deductions all around. So the 10th difference that you're going to see is going to be the guiding force, the difference between internal scorecards and external opinions. Ultimately, it's going to come down to this right here. Who are you trying to impress? Because the fake rich are guided by an external scorecard. Their self worth is tied to the opinions of others. They are going to be playing a status game and they're going to be playing in a status system. Your rank is determined by how other people see you. And it's always going to be far less than what you thought of yourself. This makes them puppets of social pressure and trends. They buy what they think should be bought and they live where they think they should be living, following a script written by society. And this is a fragile way to live because when your self worth is outsourced, you're no longer in control of your own happiness. The truly wealthy operate from an internal scorecard. They have a strong sense of their own values and make decisions based on those values, regardless of what anyone else thinks. They have what you might call secure status and deep confidence that eliminates the need for constant reassurance through material things. A billionaire in an old pair of jeans and a t-shirt knows exactly who he is. The clothes don't change a thing because with the wealthy, the clothes don't make the man makes the clothes. With the fake rich, the man doesn't make the clothes makes the man. The kids going to prom with clothes that they'll never wear again, where their status symbol for prom is defined by the outfit on their back, is fake wealth versus an individual who everyone knows, class president, student rep, all this, that, and the other, based on his integrity and his presence, where he could have went to prom with jeans and a t-shirt and still become prom king because of who he is, not what he's wearing, right? This psychological independence allows them to make the countercultural choices that are essential for building the wealth. It lets them drive a 10-year-old car when their peers are leasing new ones. It lets them live in modest houses to keep their costs low and their savings rates high. They aren't worried about keeping up with the Joneses. They are too busy running their own races. They've stopped trying to prove anything to anyone else because they've already proven it to themselves. And that is the most profound difference of all. Okay. So understanding the differences is going to be the first step. But what do you actually do about it? Shifting from the loud, fragile world of fake rich to the quiet, powerful world of the truly wealthy isn't about making more money overnight. It is about changing your mindset and your habits. So, with the last 2.5 hours of all the information of why this is an issue and concern, here is the rest of the show where we're going to give you a few steps that you can get started with so that you can kind of change your mindset from the negative towards the positive. First, you want to go on a status detox. For the next 30 days, you want to make a conscious effort to cut out all status signals. No posting about purchases on social media, no wearing clothes with loud logos. And a loud logo is a logo that can be seen externally on the clothes. I'm actually wearing a actually designer blazer that goes with a designer suit, but you can't see the logo anywhere. You know, there's no name brand on the pocket chest. There's no name brand on the sleeve, right? There's a giant emblem on the back. None of that stuff. You know, you want to avoid those loud logos. She said, didn't Steve Jobs wear t-shirt and jeans? And so did Elon Musk in the White House. He had on black Vans, black jeans, black t-shirt with a black vest in the White House. And that's a billionaire. He didn't have a Gucci Couture suit on. He had on black Vans, black jeans, a black t-shirt, and a black blazer. That's it. He probably owns the companies that made the clothes that he was wearing. But I could have picked that exact outfit up from a Walmart, a Ross, a K&G's, a Burlington Coat Factory off the discount rack, right? Because it wasn't about what he was wearing. It was about what he was doing while he was wearing the clothes. It was about who he was with. It was about where he was at, right? He doesn't have to wear $1 billion outfit because he's a billionaire, but he does have to be places where billions can become billions or multiple billions, right? So you want no name dropping brands in your conversations. When you're talking to people, you don't want to talk to them about what brand that you got here and what brand that you got there. You know, the goal is to break the addiction to external validation. During this time, instead of tracking likes, you want to track your net worth. Create a simple spreadsheet and update it once a week. This shifts your focus from a vanity matrix, which is public opinion, to the one matrix that actually matters: yours, you, your success, your money, your status to you, right? Second, you want to design your own boring, rich lifestyle. The quiet wealthy don't live lives of deprivation, they live lives of intention. So you want to take some time to define what a rich life actually means to you without all the noise from social media. Is it the freedom to travel, the ability to work on projects that you actually love, more time with your family? Get specific, then work backwards from there. And you want to figure out what that lifestyle actually costs you. You'll probably find that a lifestyle of true freedom is far cheaper than a lifestyle of performance. Let this be your financial North Star. Matter of fact, you can go one step further. Once you get this calculation, then you want to multiply a 4 to 8% increase, which will give you a good bottom line that would incorporate interest and taxation if you did 8%, where you would be able to see the growth that you need over decades, where you now have a goal of accomplishing a specific dollar value that produces a specific quantity of capital that guarantees you a lifestyle that will never quit. So before you make a purchase, you want to ask yourself this one question. Ladies, this is going to be hard, but if you do this too, you're going to see a whole lot of changes. Does this move me closer to my ideal life, or does it just make me look good for a minute? Even if it makes you look good all day, if it derails your ability to get to your life goal, is it really necessary for you to get that now? Third, you want to automate your wealth building because the most effective way to build wealth is to put it on autopilot. This removes emotions and willpower from the equation. You want to set up automatic transfers from your checking account to your investment accounts every single payday. Follow the pay yourself first rules. This means a portion of your income, aim for at least 15%, goes directly to your investments before you even have a chance to spend it, right? This is the single most powerful habit for building. And when you're building wealth quietly and consistently, this is going to be the way to be the most successful. Finally, this is the last thing we got for you guys for tonight. Become a student of the game. The wealthy are lifelong learners. You want to start by reading foundational books like The Millionaire Next Door by Thomas Stanley and Williams Donko, or The Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel. Find credible financial experts like me who focus on long term and evidence based strategies, not just get rich quick nonsense. The more you learn, the more confident you'll become in your own decisions and the less you'll be swayed by the noise. And then always, always, always ask a follow up question, right? The message is going to be simple, but it's not going to be easy. We're swimming in a culture that screams at us to be loud, to show off, and to perform. But real wealth doesn't scream, whispers. It's not found in the roar of a new engine or the flash of a diamond. It's found in the quiet confidence of the growing net worth, in the peace of mind that comes from living below your means, meaning that you have more money coming in than money going out, and in priceless luxuries of owning your own time, meaning I get up when I feel like it, not when you tell me to. You have a choice to make. You can keep playing the loud, exhausting game of the fake rich, a game of anxiety, debt, and fragility that you are destined to lose, or you can start playing the quiet game of real rich, a game of discipline, patience, and long term vision that leads to unshakable security and true freedom. You want to stop looking rich. Start focusing on the silent daily habits that will actually make you wealthy. The applause of the crowd is fleeting. The peace that comes from financial independence is forever. And one of the things that I also want to tell you guys on the way out of the door tonight is that you got to pay attention to the fact that the average wealthy person avoids media. They don't want to be seen by the paparazzi. They don't want answer questions and people sitting on their doorstep and interviews and all this. They want to be left alone, right? The broke, on the other hand, the false rich, love the publicity. One, because they're a ghost of society without it. So you really got to reassess your situation and how you go about involving yourself with wealth, and then how you allow your decisions to impact that wealth. Now, that's all I got for you guys for tonight. 3 long hours. I want to start off by saying, ladies, as long as the situation doesn't make sense, I'm going to keep asking you ladies to make it make sense. So, ladies, please make it make sense. Fellas, I give you all this information to help you guys become higher value men, because when you focus on the things that are inside of your control that you don't like, and then you make the necessary changes to improve them, your way of life improves as well, giving you enough energy and effort to put into navigating around the things that are outside of your control. Ladies, while this is a male driven podcast from the male's perspective, you too can make yourselves higher value women by prioritizing your 20 and 30-year goals, finding out where you would prefer to be at and what it takes to get there, reverse engineering that to the baby steps that you need to take today, proactively start performing those goals diligently, keeping your eyes and ears open for the potential suitors with the drive, the dedication, the personality, the characteristics, the integrity, you know, to achieve the goals that you're looking for, where your goals might intertwine with their goals without actually having to be the same goals. That's when you guys can move mountains together. And I tell you guys on a regular basis that two people can come together and make $1 million faster than one. But it requires both of them to have the same long term determination to be financially successful and financially free from the normal stressors of life. Because I've shown you guys plenty of times on this podcast how two $30,000 a year income individuals can become millionaires inside of 10 to 20 years. I've shown you guys how two people with 40 or $50,000 a year income can be millionaires inside of 5 to 15 years. It just depends on if you or your partner is financially wasteful or not. Because even if your partner is financially stable, but you're financially wasteful, you're buying a bunch of stuff for your partner while they're trying to save. It's not going to work. You guys both have to stay towards the prize. Now, we got a lot of extra stuff coming up for you guys. So if you haven't gone through, I want to make sure that you guys like and subscribe, mash those reaction buttons, and hit the notification buttons for all the shows that we got going on, because it looks like we've got the majority of May labeled already. So you will see them. You should be able to see all of them now, and a lot of them going into June and July. We really put the effort in for you guys. So I want to make sure that you guys come and take a look, so that you guys can be ready for the shows that are coming up. But we're live 7 nights a week, and you guys need to double back and come and take a look at all the other things that we have prepared for you guys. Beyond that, I want to thank you guys for coming to this and that. And oh yeah, get that membership. Lots of value there. Oh yeah. Speaking of, starting, I believe, Wednesday or Thursday of next week, I now have the freedom of time to start flooding the membership with so many different things that I was supposed to be putting into the membership in April. So as you guys dive into the membership, you guys will see like all of the different things that has been archived on the YouTube platform to help you guys, links that take you to documents that'll help you guys make the decisions that you need to make and accomplish the goals that you're trying to accomplish, which actually makes this a whole lot more effective than a life planner or, some kind of coach or some motivational guru that just tells you go out there and do better. Nah, fuck that. Click the link and then read the details on how to do better. I didn't created the manual on I should write a book. I haven't done it yet, but I mean, I'm writing the manual as we go along on multiple different ways to do better. So what you got to do, you got to go dive into the membership and see what's going on. Because if you're in the membership when it starts rolling out, you'll be like, sheesh, this podcast is putting out a lot of information. I'm putting out more information than Wikipedia. Google is going to be tagging me on everything, right? By the time I retire out of this, I'm probably going to be the #1 Google search of every topic that is related to improvement. But you guys got to make sure that you guys pay attention and do your own research after you get the information from me, because I'm the tip of the iceberg. But now I've given you a direction. One of the things that confuses people the most is that they don't know what questions to ask in order to get started. I've already given you an idea. Now you've got questions from the ideas that I've given you. Now you go and find the solutions from those questions, ask me some questions, do some research, get a second or third opinion to cross-reference the information I gave you to make sure that you're satisfied with the information that I gave you. And then once you verify it, validate it, you can stake my name to it and go and knock it out and say, yep, he said it, this guy said it, this lady said it, they're doing it. It is what it's proven. I tried it. I put a little bit down. I seen what it do. It's doing everything he said it was going to do. Now I can go all in, right? This isn't a go into it blind scenario. This is to, stick your feet in the water. I told you it was cold. When you stick your feet in the water, it's cold. Yeah, it's cold. It is what it is. Now, if you feel like diving in, you dive in. So, special shout out to Steven, Uncommon Woman 100. Special shout out to Michael. I really appreciate you guys for showing so much support to the show and coming here as often as you do. I really appreciate that. Special shout out to Dylan and Red Boy, Omni81 from Twitch. I really appreciate you guys for long-standing watching, even when you don't have time to communicate. I want to thank you guys for coming to This and That. I'm your host, Xander, where we talk about this, that, and everything in between. And I will be seeing you guys tomorrow night.
Higher ground. Used to chase my net worth. Choose your company wise. Surround yourself with eagles, not with sheep in disguise. Every interaction is a reflection of my brand. Quality over quantity, that's my personal command. I'm not landing on higher ground where excellence is found. My potential knows no bounds, raising the bar, breaking ground. I'm not just living, I'm manifesting my vision, cutting through limitations with surgical precision. My expectations are my compass, my respect is my shield to mediocrity and chaos. I will never I'm not just living.